Have you ever wondered how so many business owners, social media influencers, and photographers keep up with so many social media platforms? Like there's some sort of machines that can seemingly pump out endless content when you can't even find a second in the day to post an Instagram photo? Well, I can safely tell you that most of them are not superhuman machines who are expert multitaskers. The majority of them would use the process of content scheduling for their businesses. Hi guys, for those of you who are new here, my name is Kaylee June and I'm a beauty and fashion photographer, and today we're going to be talking about content scheduling for photographers. Now there can be endless and differing ways of incorporating content scheduling into your business, and it's really important to find what works for you. But the entire aim of having a focus on content scheduling is really to save time for yourself. It helps you to retain consistency, but also helps you to build an audience. And let me just say, most of these social media platforms' algorithms love consistency. And if you want to grow your business's audience, then this is something that you're going to have to master. Now, if you're like me and can't stand to sit there on a day-to-day basis trying to think of content to post, trying to think of an interesting caption, and then eventually posting, only to then realize that your Instagram grid kind of sucks over time because there hasn't been much thought going into how it looks overall. There's no cohesiveness overall, it gets you feeling sad, and you don't really have much sense of pride in your online presence. Especially when you see other photographers in your field posting incredible work, which seemingly feels like all the time. Plus, you might be one of those people that does find the time to post a single image on social media with good intentions of doing it on a day-to-day basis, only to find that it does get too much in the end. And then suddenly it's 3 months down the track and you haven't posted anything since. So in this video, we're going to try and avoid that scenario and really talk about how you can organize and schedule your content. First off, I think it's really important to note that you do not have to be across every social media platform online. I know the feeling all too well of how overwhelming it can be to try and get your work across 5 or 6 different social media platforms. So I think especially when you're just starting out, try and choose a couple of platforms that you feel are really beneficial for your work and for your business. For example, I have a very big focus with my photography business using platforms such as Instagram, YouTube, and Pinterest. Instagram is mainly used for networking and attracting clients. YouTube is to post educational content and behind the scenes. And Pinterest is to provide inspiration with my images to others, so whether that be for hairstyles, makeup styles, and photography in general. However, you in your business might prefer to focus on platforms such as Facebook or TikTok. It all depends on the genre of photography you do, your target audience, and really where you want to put a lot of your marketing efforts into. So for some platforms, scheduling and organizing content can be harder than others. For example, I find dedicating a day each month for Instagram scheduling is quite easy. Then it's just a matter of scheduling them across 30 days and also tagging them and captioning them, which I actually find to be the hardest part. Also doing a quick plan of my overall grid just to make sure that it looks cohesive and it looks good to the eye. YouTube scheduling, however, can be a lot different. Videos usually require careful planning, shooting, editing, and scripts, and it can actually take a great deal of time to produce a single video. So for this, I prefer to bulk film on certain days if I can. This allows me to then dedicate certain days for filming and editing throughout the week, and then I'm not doing it on a day-to-day basis every day of the week. But I also think we need to rewind a bit and talk about content scheduling platforms as well. So there are scheduling platforms that can do multiple social media websites or just focusing on one. Both options are completely fine, although it can be easier to choose a scheduling platform that does multiple social media sites. However, some of those schedulers do specialize on social media sites, so it really depends on what works for you best. I have done a video on Instagram content schedulers before, so I will actually link that down in the description box below if you'd like to see that. But personally, I use Planoly, which allows me to schedule for Instagram and Pinterest. As I said, I usually like to plan out content for Instagram about 30 days ahead of time. I dedicate a single day each month to planning out my Instagram content, and that allows me to not have to worry about sitting there at 8 p.m. every night deciding on my captions. This video is not sponsored by Planoly, but I do love it as a content scheduler, so I do have an affiliate link in the description box below if you'd like to try Planoly for free. Another really great way you can plan out captions for Instagram in particular, and I think this is a really important point because I am so guilty of just posting an emoji or just sticking with photo credits. It's actually by using an online program such as Trello. I tend to save ideas for captions into my Trello boards, so when it comes time for scheduling my content for Instagram, then I'm really not running dry on ideas. But to be completely honest, using Trello to gain inspiration could be a whole video in itself, but I will link to Trello below if you'd like to try that out too, because it's one of my life-saving tools that I use in my business. Because Instagram is such a visual platform, it's incredibly important to see how your feed looks overall. Think of it more like organizing a portfolio. You don't have to necessarily have a set theme with your work, but you should have one common thread that ties everything in together. Even working on just compositions of how the images look next to each other can sometimes be more than enough. Going back to Planoly for a second, you can also create groups of tags. And this is really great because when you are tagging your images, it makes it a lot easier to just click on a single group of tags rather than trying to sit there and type out every single tag individually. So you can create these groups of tags for people that were involved with making the image that you're posting, or you can also create these groups of tags for just general posting. So anywhere on Instagram that you want your images to be seen under certain tags, you can create groups for these as well. It's just one click and it's done, in turn making it much easier for people to find your work on Instagram. Also, using the auto post function with Planoly is a must. It is such a great way to set and forget. If you're more interested in using Facebook for your business, then I would definitely recommend looking at a program called Hootsuite. Hootsuite is actually a multi-social site scheduler. I would essentially apply a similar process to my Instagram planning for this and just use one day in the month to do all of my Facebook scheduling as well. Moving on to Pinterest, and it's a little bit different in how you would schedule content. There's a couple of different processes that you need to acknowledge when scheduling content for Pinterest, and it's important not only to be uploading your own original pins and scheduling those, but it's also really important to be pinning other people's content as well. It's a really great way to stand out amongst the algorithm and to attract more people to your Pinterest page. For this, a great app is Tailwind. With Tailwind, you can schedule a bunch of different pins from other people to be repinned on your own boards. Once again, I try and set a single day in the month to do this, or you can do it on a week-to-week basis. I've done this before where I've scheduled pins on a week-to-week basis, and I tend to make it quite a quick process by finding things that I really like on Pinterest and just basically popping them into Tailwind. Tailwind also has a plugin feature where you can virtually find anything on the web to repin. So basically you can schedule things as you go along throughout the week really easily. So keeping in mind, before all of this, you'll likely need to do quite a bit of planning when it comes to your content scheduling. I'm talking mainly about caption ideas, which I try and gain inspiration from on a regular basis if I can. As I said, I really like to use Trello to dump all of my ideas there. So whether it be captions, whether it be post ideas, I try and move all of my inspiration onto there on a regular basis so I don't tend to run out of ideas. This also especially comes into effect when planning my own YouTube videos as well. I think the main points though to take away from this video is to really dedicate those days in a month where you can do all of your content scheduling. Use a set and forget process that really allows you to not have to worry about doing anything content scheduling wise for an entire month. I feel like that's the best way to start. And believe me, it's a much nicer process than the alternative. Well guys, I hope this video really helped you out with content scheduling. And if you do have any questions about content scheduling, please feel free to put them in the comment section below. I think that a lot of people struggle with this and struggle with consistency, but it's really important to get into a routine of doing this from month to month and doing it on a couple of days each month. As I said before, I think that's very important. It's important to form that routine so you do keep consistent, because it's almost impossible and so overwhelming to do all of this on a day-to-day basis. This is something that I've tried many times before and it has not worked out for me. And I think in many people's businesses, there's always going to be times where you do slip up and you don't post, and that's okay. But to try and gain the consistency to build your audience, which is really what you need, hopefully some of these tips have helped you today. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, make sure that you do, because I'll be posting a lot more content in future. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.